So there are a lot of people looking to make transitions in their careers, and many come from the military into the private sector and look to either invest in real estate or make a career in real estate. So I've really been privileged to meet Erickson Sainval through a multifamily group I'm involved with, and he has the O Club podcast that he hosts, and I have a chance to chat with him a bit and share with you. Erickson, welcome to our call today.
Hey, Bill, nice to meet you, and I'm glad you gave me this opportunity to hop on and we can have a good conversation.
Now, your time is precious. You're active duty, right?
Yes, active duty Marine Corps.
Well, thank you. Well, thanks for your service.
Thank you.
So tell me about obviously you're in the Marine Corps, but you're involved with people who are active duty looking to invest, or people who are leaving active duty and getting out? What's your focus as far as your relationships?
So for the relationships, for me, it's more just providing content, value, education on real estate, finances, investing, and overall entrepreneurship. So that's the main focus of the podcast, is to bring individuals, that are experienced like yourself, being a real estate broker, and you just come on and share your knowledge and on the market and what you think people should be doing, where they should be investing, what they should be looking for. And then I just pretty much package that and present it to other military service members that are more directed towards officers, but the content itself is open for everyone.
What is the number one or biggest challenge that active duty military have who wish to advance themselves financially? If they're looking to build wealth while you're in the service, what's the biggest challenge? And then how do you address that?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest challenge is just the fact that the service provides a lot of security in terms of you have your pay and it's always, the same until you either promote, or if you have a specific job that requires extra pay for that specialization. But for the most part, it's always the same. You're always going to get paid on the 1st and the 15th. And for some certain individuals, service members, housing is provided. So you get kind of like a stipend for housing. So, or for others, they provide barracks rooms. So there's some people that would go their whole, 4-year commitment or more and never really had to sign a lease or know what to do with the lease. So there's that security there in that sense. And for some people, once they say, for example, they just do the 4 and get out, it's hard for them to adapt and get control of their finances because, some of these special things that they get for being in the service. And then the fact that a lot of that stuff is already provided for by the military. So they don't really have to think about it. There's not really a need to budget and have a piece of your budget going to housing or going to this. So I would say that would probably be the most difficult part for those transitioning out, is just losing that security that is provided, and then actually having to do their own budgeting and figure out how much rent I can afford and all these things.
It seems to me the challenge that active military have is no different than any other full-time employee at a significant job, which is, you're getting paid to do work at some point during the day. And theoretically, you're supposed to pay attention to that work during that time period. And investing in real estate, oftentimes things come up and you think you're shopping for something, and next thing you know, you're in escrow and there's paperwork and there's questions. So how do you manage your time in that you have commitments, but at the same time, you got to be available to, finalize deals or to review deals or whatever it is?
Yeah, for sure. I think that just comes down to time management. So you definitely have to do your best to, when you're wearing the uniform, that's your primary focus, is to the military and making sure things are getting done. But, just like other civilians out there, work has to end at some point during the day. So once work ends, that's for me when I, take off the uniform and put on my real estate hat, and then start attending to any issues that occurred while I was at work, but also things that have helped me in terms of when, situations come up and I'm at work and I can't go out and, fix that toilet or do this or do that, is the systems I put in place. So, I have systems in there where the tenants can put in a work order, and that order goes to a series of text blasts that go to a couple handyman. And then from there, I can just get a simple text of the quote, and then whichever one, I pick, I just send a yes, and then they go out and do it, and I don't really have to worry about it. So I say it's definitely important, time management, and making sure that you're doing your best in wherever you are, whatever type of work you're doing, and you're not overworking yourself or blending work or not providing your best to, whatever you're doing.
It's been a while since I've been on somebody else's clock, and I know that there was a time I had a business running and it overlapped a little bit, and it's very uncomfortable to be sitting in a business meeting where somebody's paying you and your text goes off and you want to look at it. You can't look at it. You're distracted. There's a break. You look at the break, right? So you must have some of those same issues. But I guess it's like everything else in life. You manage that, right? If you have family, same thing. So what you're saying is it gets down to time management. How do you learn, or what do you do to help yourself be more effective with your time management skills?
Yeah, so for me, one of the big tools that I use is the Google Calendar. So I'll go on there and set certain blocks, like, hey, this block can't move, nothing can change, everything has to work around that. And that's usually, my work block. So from X time to X time I'm at work. And then after that, it's, things like family time, or gym time, or, research on potential markets during this time. So I just get my, hard times, I set that, and then everything else just kind of works around that. And then I'll have the Google Calendar, and I share that with the family. So my wife knows, from this time he's at work. So I'm probably not going to be able to get a hold of him unless it's, a very huge emergency. And then, and it's out there for her to see, and she knows my schedule. I know her schedule. She does the same, where she has her schedule and shares it with me. So I know, hey, if I need her to do something, well, I can't have her do it at this time because she's got something going on. So Google Calendar I'm really big on it. Now, wasn't always a thing. I did a lot of the mental calendar and just, taking everything to memory. But, after a while of handling so many properties, you realize, hey, I need to step up.
So you're married, you have kids?
Yes, I'm married, 2 kids, Nathan, Noah, 4 and 2. So
a lot of energy, time. 2 boys.
Yes,
a lot of energy. So I have a grandson who's coming up on 2, and then my daughter's pregnant with a second boy. And I'm constantly apologizing to my late mother. It was me and my brother. We were just terrors, the 2 of us. So I know what's going on in your house. In your work, do you have a position where you're involved in leadership? Are you managing other people, or are you more kind of a lone wolf on your own business? In terms of service?
Over the years, it's definitely changed. Before, when I first started off, because I actually started on the enlisted side, I went from managing a group of 4 people, being in the team leader phase, and then going up to a squad leader, managing up to 13, and then sometimes standing in the position of the platoon sergeant, acting, having over a group of 30 something individuals under my charge. And then from there, I moved to being a student pilot, where it was more of just myself and just me being able to manage myself. And then now I'm currently going through the finance officer route, which, from there, I'll probably have a small team of maybe 4 to 5 Marines that I'll be in charge of and leading. So it varies, and it's been really amazing to kind of see the ebbs and flow of everything, and managing anywhere from a small group to a large group of people.
I find that when service members leave, that the if they can recreate the circumstances that they perform well in the service, they're best off. Meaning, if you're just whether you're enlisted or an officer, if you're just working by yourself all the time, don't imagine in real estate you're going to be initially effective at running a team. Or the flip side, if you're used to, like you are, being in charge of smaller teams, mid-sized teams, resources, now you can use that. That should give you confidence in doing that in your business because you've been trained to do it. The language is different, the skills are different, but the communication and structure skills are very similar. Is that what you found?
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. And, when I was first starting into the real estate kind of business, it was more just me, because at that time, I was doing single family homes, wasn't doing, 2-3 properties a year, just really just one. I would buy that property. And then, that's after doing a while of fixing things myself, I realized, well, I can never scale if I'm doing all the fixing, doing all the managing, because I was also managing properties. But I still continued to do that up until around 4 properties. And once I was going to get the 5th, that's when it really took a toll. And I realized, like, hey, teams are important. So that's when I started taking on property managers and implementing, maintenance people to help alleviate some of that stress that I had.
Yep.
And, to what you said, it's very true that, you're going to have to, in order to succeed, you're going to have to, get your teams together, get those relationships going so you can scale. Else, being a one-man show, it's going to be very difficult to get to your goal or, what you're trying to accomplish fast enough.
Well, I'd say the flip side also is if you're only used to working by yourself, don't jump into something that requires a huge team right away. Kind of work your way up to it, right?
Yes.
Work with somebody else on their team. Start small and learn what it's like to delegate, because it's kind of like going from being a single man to a married man. When you're married, you wake up the next day next to somebody else, you got responsibilities, right? It's one thing when you're single, you get together, you go home your own way. But when you wake up and she's still there, life's different. Same in business. Life's different when people are depending on you, right?
Yep, I agree. And like going back to what you said about the communication piece, every person you interact with, you're going to have to communicate differently with, which was something that, the military, I was able to experience that sooner and younger. So bringing that into the real estate space really helped. Just knowing that, hey, the way you approach this person is going to be different than the next. And it's definitely a lot more apparent in the civilian side, because on the military side, yes, you want to use your communication skills to get the task done. But at the end of the day, like, that person is going to listen to you and do what you say. Whereas on the civilian side, they may not have to listen to you or do what you say, or they may not do it right. And the way you would approach it would be a lot different than if you were in the military. So that was definitely one of those learning curves as well when I started venturing into the real estate space, like that I needed to be more aware of as well.
Yeah, we real estate agents don't follow orders.
Yeah, and sometimes you could do it and they still get it wrong. So
welcome to real estate. That's the beauty of it. Well, look, obviously you got a lot of interesting experience, a lot of personal experience you bring to it. And you have the O Club. Tell me about the O Club podcast. What are you doing there? And what would somebody be looking for to find that as a contribution to their education?
Yeah, so the O Club podcast, again, is geared towards military officers, but the education, knowledge, and value that you can get for it is for everyone. So it's mainly to get the information and education out there for financing, for entrepreneurship, for real estate, for investing, because it's one of those things where I feel like once you have control of that, everything else will fall into place. So, my hopes for this podcast is to get people on there that can add value to these service members, in which these service members can reach out to those people, and then it's just a continuous network of people helping each other grow and develop personally, financially, in their business, just overall growth for people on both sides.
Fantastic. And then is there a particular investment that you're working on or promoting now, or looking for investors to join you with, or that you can talk about as success?
Yeah, no, not any investment currently working on right now, but there was a joint venture that, we're looking to sell off. It was a small mobile home park, so that's going to be one of the closes going on. We did finish and sold a small short-term rental camper style strategy that went well. But yeah, usually I don't promote any of like my investment pieces because I don't want to like push officers to invest with me. I would much rather give them the information and then they do whatever they feel they need to do with that information. But yeah, I'm always doing deals. I've partnered up with other military service members. I've partnered up with some friends and family, and I've partnered with people similar to you, Bill. So I think what matters most is you doing the due diligence, making sure that the people that you're partnering up with, their goals align with yours, their morals align with yours, and that everything's transparent. So transparency is definitely key when you're going out and looking at these deals and partnering with people, and especially if you're new to this real estate space. I would go out and say that real estate is definitely one of the safer investments, but if you do it wrong and you don't do your due diligence, it could definitely hinder you as well.
Yeah.
It's not something, say, like stocks where you can lose, your whole portfolio in a matter of seconds, but in real estate, it definitely can hurt you. But the good thing about real estate is with time, it usually ends up benefiting you more than hurting you. So
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate it. So the O Club podcast is available on Spotify and other Apple Podcasts, the place you get podcasts. Geographically, where are you located currently?
Yeah, so currently right now I'm TDY, or temporary duty out in North Carolina. I'll be relocating to California here shortly. That'll be my new duty station. So I'm excited to go back to California. I know my wife is definitely excited. She loved, the weather and the beaches there. So
it sounds like you're going to Camp Pendleton.
Yes.
And we see Marines and beaches, definitely Camp Pendleton. And I don't think it gets I don't know about the duty and all that at Camp Pendleton, but I got to tell you, that strip of land is about as pretty a place as there is in the United States. So
I think that's the best strip of land that the Marine Corps has bought.
You guys bought it. Like, what the heck? You put some condos there, some vacations. No, the Marines have the whole thing there. It's very nice. Well, we'll look forward to having you back in California. Good luck with your with the transfer and all that, and with your family. There's a lot going on. Look forward to staying in touch with you through the O Club. And thank you so much for your time today, Erickson. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill, and thanks a lot for allowing me to come on here and speak. And I'm glad that I've gotten to know you and then everything that you're about. So I hope we continue this relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.